All right. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, you all. I am coming live from a new place. I won't say where I'm at. But I am live. I'm at a different time today. Got a little bit tied up today. But however, I'm live now and I'm excited to be here on this Friday. This is Weekend Coach Honey Shantay Adams. And I am coming live. I won't be long, but I really want to share something a little different than what we've been talking about the last several Fridays in terms of entrepreneurship, value-driven entrepreneur. And so, because I want to practice what I preach on this Friday, on this August the 14th, 2026, I want to bring value to you all today. So today I want to talk about estate planning. I know this is a big deal. Estate planning is huge. And not only is it huge, it's so significant and it's so important, right? We all can agree and test to that, right? So I want to talk to you about estate planning, and I want to talk to you all about not only why it's important. I believe many people know it's important, but there are so many things that it makes it such a way to have access to it. And I want to invite each and every person who watch me live or watch this replay to tap in and contact me about it, because there's some exciting news, like breaking news, to make this affordable to everyone, no matter what level you are at. Some people say, hey, Shantay, well, I don't have a lot of assets to put in to have a trust or to do estate planning. And let me tell you, that's all myth. We're gonna debug. We're gonna what they call dismantle. We're gonna dismantle. We're gonna debug. We're gonna get rid of. We're gonna get rid of these myths that a lot of folks, maybe not a lot of people, but maybe some people find themselves in. So with that being said, I want to talk about estate planning 101. I want to talk about that and why that is important. And not only why it's important, but there are some things that come with all that included. So let's start off there. So if you are a note taker, take your notes. If you are want to listen, you want to fly on this Friday, then you come stop in, stop through. We're going to talk and we're going to get in and we're going to get out. For all you all on time crunch, we're going to be in and we're going to be out today. Okay? So with that being said, I want to talk to you all about the estate planning 101. So we know the foundation of it is having your living will and your living will, last will and testament they call it, your trust, you have irrevocable, you can even have irrevocable. So people get those mixed up sometimes. So irrevocable trust is when you're like, it's final, this is what it is, no changing it, right? So that's that one. The revocable trust is when you can make changes as your life changes. As things come in, things get taken away. So that's a revocable trust. We know many people may know that. However, one thing that people don't take in mind is, and this is dear to me personally, and you maybe heard me speak about this some years back. I did a talk on estate planning maybe 3-4 years ago, and I spoke about my father. And I spoke about, I remember distinctively when I drove away to go to the cemetery to lay my father to rest. I remember saying to my children at the time, I think we were following each other. And I said, I don't want y'all ever to argue about even the smallest details that concerns me when I'm going home to glory. And so what that means is I wanted things put in order so much that you knew what I was wearing, the casket, how my hair, my makeup, all of the details, small details like that people may not care about, but they care about when it's time because families bicker over it. And it does happen to family members. I know that. I've seen it in my own family. I know it happens. I'm not the only one. And so the funeral directive is a big one, because it gives the details to alleviate families' confusion, arguments, debate, or they wanted to get buried in this tuxedo, this suit, this tie, this and that, or they want this pearls on, they want this earrings on, they want this, we're going to eliminate that. And so that's a funeral directive. I know people don't want to have these conversations, but it's a need conversation. It's a must need conversation. And so having that funeral directive, not just having a trust, but you also need things to be also like the funeral. So having a funeral directive, having a power of attorney, these are conversations that most people don't want to have. I get that. Most people don't want to have these kind of conversations. It could be tight, but it's right. It could be tight, but it's right. And so When I say that, I'm saying it because it's a conversation that many of us don't want to have, but it's a necessary conversation. Then healthcare directors, and then also, of course, we talked about special needs trust. So imagine having a opportunity, you can get all these things included. So today, what I'm mentioning to you all about all these different documents that I'm listing out to you all, these are documents you can actually have in one. You don't have to cherry pick. I was speaking with a couple yesterday out in Illinois, and they're in their 60s, late 60s, I believe. And she was telling me her and her husband, very successful. He's retiring this year. She retired last year. And she said, we're now getting a trust. She said, I can't believe we have to put all these things in order. And so she said, they work with someone. And so they're out to pay, a little change, for just a trust. Just a trust. Just a trust. And I said, imagine you get this trust and all these documents I just listed out to you all about the will, about healthcare directories, about funeral directories, special needs trust, having your actual trust, and you can pay a fraction of that and have all that in a vault. Because she would say, now I got to teach the kids where's the stuff is at. This is what I'm listening to this client tell me this yesterday. She said, I got to tell the kids where to put all this stuff at, where we're supposed to have it, so they know where to find it. If she passed away, where to go to find these documents. I said, imagine having a vault that would keep this in place for you, and you don't have to worry about that, or your family members don't have to worry about it. Yes, they need to know where it's at for their own, for their own need. But however, there's a vault that would keep that for them. And she would say, that's pretty impressive. I said, yeah, I know, it is. It's very impressive. And I said, so times are changed, and so having that is important. And so I tell folks, it's important to have those in place. It so is. And knowing that someone else can have that outside of you. And so outside of you and your children know where it's at, they gotta find it. How many people y'all mad when they say, I gotta go find the documents? Well, they had insurance, they got this. Do anybody got the documents? Anybody know if they had insurance? Anybody know if they got this? Or, anybody, who's in charge of that? How many of us and our own family members who are part of planning someone's arrangements have to ask these kind of questions? And how many of us may know that have been told the answer at one point in time in life, but you don't talk about it no further, and you got to try to recall the conversation about it, or you got to go find it yourself. Imagine having something in place already where that alleviates that. See, the point is, it's trying to alleviate stress from the family all around, even those who are here remaining. And so this estate planning is huge. So it gives you opportunity to have all that in one place, secure in a vault. Yes, you can tell your loved one where is it. And then the thing about this vault, the loved ones who are here have access to that. So then they say, go find where they got it stashed. Hello, somebody, isn't that great news? Isn't that good news? That's good news in itself. Let me tell you, that's good news in itself. So my point is that having an estate plan is much easier nowadays than it was before. So we used to have, sorry, there's a little noise in the background, but we used to have to do things where it was like, for a trust by itself, on the low side you may get it for a few $100, maybe $400 or $500. And you want a full estate planning, it costs you over a couple grand. And so this same couple I was speaking about yesterday, she was saying that, they were looking at something, it was going to cost them $2,500. So having a trust is a big deal. It's a big deal. And you're not even paying no cost, additional costs. How about that? How about that? So I say all that to say that having this is important. And so I wanted to say, hey, if you are interested in having this conversation with me and getting things started and feel like, what you talking about, then you and I can have that conversation because it's important. And I've been talking about estate planning, and I just want to come on and just make that announcement about that and say, hey, this is some value, and you don't have to pay $2,000. You don't have to pay $500. You ain't got to pay $200. Hello, somebody. I'm just saying. But I'm saying. I'm just saying. But no, that's good news. I smile because I remember, saying I want to have all these things, and so now I have it at my fingertips, and now I get the opportunity to bring that value to you all. And that part right there makes me smile, because it's no longer about this class or this person who has this asset. Another thing, so let me just say this, let me dismantle this myth. You don't have to have all these assets to have a trust. If you have a house that you own, that should be in a trust. If you own your own business, that should be in a trust. If you have insurance, that should be in a trust. There are so many things should be in a trust. And so what the trust does, for someone who's wondering, the trust manages it. You can make your trust a beneficiary, and it will manage any things you want to distribute out to your children. A will, a last will and testament, that distributes out who gets what. It distributes it out, whatever the assets that you have. But the trust oversees it, it manages it. So having a trust is good. And so for those of you who say, well, I'm accumulating assets, Shantay, then that's where the revocable trust would be important, because you still have assets that's been accumulated. So we use trust for all things, succession plans, all of that. So if you are looking for estate planning and you want to get it done, then here's your opportunity to do that. So here's the opportunity. So I want to bring that value to you all. It's no longer about the who's is getting it, or those who have money like that to get it, or you gotta pay a pretty penny to have an attorney do it, or have people to do it for you. Those days are old. It's not needed.